Hi, this is Jim Yukevich. I'm coming to you today from our moot courtroom here in our offices in Los Angeles. And I'm using some new technology, which is something called a Surface Hub, which we've invested in to be able to make things clearer in presentations like this, and maybe someday to a juror in a jury trial. It's Thursday, October 22nd, 2020, and this is our latest in the series of webcasts on the California court system during the COVID-19 crisis. Today I want to talk to you about what we've learned from conducting jury trials since the pandemic began, as well as what we understand the courts are doing to try to conduct jury trials in these times and today. I'll also give you our usual update on the status of the major Southern California county and federal courts. As you all remember, courts and businesses started closing down as a result of the pandemic in mid-March here in Southern California. In Northern California, they closed even earlier. There are 58 counties in California with a superior court in each county, and in addition to the 4 federal court districts that exist there too. That means there are well over 100 different courthouses in California that can host jury trials. Since the crisis started, courts have been trying to figure out exactly how jury trials can happen in a world of quarantines, social distancing, and personal protective equipment. Most California courts have not restarted civil jury trials, at least beyond a few test cases. In a recent hearing reported by defense counsel, a San Diego County judge said they do not believe civil trials will take place at least until July of 2021 at the earliest. Last week, 800 jurors were summoned to the San Diego courthouse for a criminal trial, and only 41 people showed up. Just getting jurors in the courthouse and making them feel comfortable and safe continues to be a problem, and it's not going to go away. From our research, it appears that fewer than 10 counties in California have announced they have restarted jury trials while complying with the current COVID-19 safety measures. For example, Lake County in Northern California ordered prospective jurors to report for socially distanced jury selection at a 10,000 square foot former ice skating rink at the county fairgrounds. Think about that. How can you get a trial that's real in a skating rink at the county fairgrounds? But for the most part, federal and state courts in California have yet to resume jury trials. And those trials that are being scheduled are more likely to be criminal than civil for obvious reasons. So, how many civil jury trials have actually been held in California since the court started to reopen? Details are hard to come by, but the Imperial County Courts in Southern California announced the first jury trial since the pandemic began started the week of September 21. Not very many details. Of the jury trials that have taken place, several have been in Alameda County in the Bay Area. Recently, the Alameda County Court held a civil jury trial by Zoom in an asbestos case that resulted in a 7-figure plaintiff's verdict. This case, called Wilgenbush versus American Built-Right, highlights some of the unique problems that we face. The courts and counsel are experiencing these kind of problems in trying to conduct jury trials under what has become the quote-unquote new normal. In the Wilgenbush case, the defendant sought a mistrial based on irregularities related to the court's use of Zoom. The defendant claimed the plaintiff spoke with 2 jurors over Zoom while the judge and counsel were in a separate Zoom room. According to the motion for mistrial, the plaintiff was heard speaking with 2 jurors about how he set up a virtual Zoom background on his computer. The defendant argued the plaintiff intentionally and subtly created juror empathy through the conversation. At the end of the day, though, the courts denied the motion for a mistrial, ruling the defendant had not shown it was deprived of a fair trial. The county also denied repeated requests by the defendant that the proceedings be recorded to avoid further irregularities. This week, in San Bernardino County, the court is dealing with how to hold a major civil trial under current COVID restrictions. The trial will involve not just jurors, judge, and court staff, but 5 different parties and their counsel, and technical specialists. The court is proposing to hold this trial in the old San Bernardino courthouse, which has larger courtrooms available. However, one of the proposals is that 20 jurors and alternates will be seated socially distanced in the courtroom audience. This raises issues of where to seat the party representatives, as well as whether the counsel's laptop screens and other activities of counsel at the tables will be visible to the jurors sitting in the gallery, which of course they will be. Court staff are looking for ways to rearrange the courtroom to avoid this. Very difficult. Plexiglass barriers are being installed for the judge and the witness stand, but not for the counsel or for jurors. If the issues with the current courtroom cannot be resolved, the court is actually considering leasing space at a community college in which to hold the trial. This trial is estimated to take 6 to 8 weeks, and it remains to be seen if the trial can be successfully started, let alone completed under these conditions. Unfortunately, at this time, there's no way to tell if and when the current closures in places like Los Angeles County will end, and when the courts will resume to be normal, whatever that means. Just as litigators such as myself have learned to adapt to new technologies in taking depositions and attending mediations, some courts are trying to move forward with jury trials as much as they can, given the current safety guidelines and available technology, and it's not easy. It's clear to me that remote jury trials using Zoom, WebEx, or other platforms may be with us for a while. And remote jury trials raise important questions not only about the safety of the judges, lawyers, and staff, and the jurors, but about issues of fundamental fairness. So we're going to continue to monitor these developments. We'll continue to give webcasts on this topic and keep you informed. Now, let's review the status of trials in the California Superior Courts in the major Southern California counties. Again, you don't need notes. The information is being provided in an attachment with the video. Here's an overview since our last video. Many courts have issued revised COVID-19 orders. Some of the highlights of these orders include the following. LA County continues to put off almost all civil trials until January 2021, and I have friends that are betting that it won't go until the middle of the year of 2021. Orange County has restarted certain types of civil trials and implemented revised jury selection protocols. A budget shortfall is affecting hours of operation for Riverside. All kinds of problems. The Los Angeles County Superior Court announced on October 9th it will continue to delay almost all civil trials until January 2021, stating its courthouses are not currently configured to promote social distancing, which in many instances in all courts across the country, courts have not been built to do what we need to do now to keep people socially distanced and safe. However, trials involving preference cases that comply with social distancing can resume and did resume on October 5th. As we previously advised, criminal trial has been restarted in LA County. On October 9, criminal trials were given priority, and there's a good reason. There are 7,000 pending criminal trials in LA County, and that number is growing. Let's take a look at Orange County. Orange County restarted civil trials on September 1st, 2020, and cases to be tried will be selected based on these criteria: statutory preferences, age of the case, estimated length of trial, number of parties, the 5-year statutory requirement, any stipulation by parties to fewer than 12 jurors, and whether the trial is an expedited jury trial and other relevant case-specific factors. Let's take a look at the fact that Orange County also is conducting bench trials by WebEx remote video. All parties, counsel, and their respective witnesses appear remotely. On September 30th, Orange County announced jury selection will proceed pursuant to the following procedures. Civil jury trials will include 40 prospective jurors per panel. Jury selection may occur in a different courtroom than where the trial will be conducted. Where space allows, voir dire of all jurors will be done in one courtroom. When space limitations require, voir dire may be done in rounds, for instance, 2 groups of 20 jurors each. In some courtrooms, voir dire of the first group will be broadcast live to the second group in a second location. This will allow both groups to see and hear all voir dire questioning, which is exactly what would happen if we did it in a real courtroom in days when we could do it all together. Jury selection will otherwise proceed pursuant to statute, rule, and individual department procedure, which is important to note. Judges have their own ways of doing jury selection, and they're going to modify that procedure as best they can. During trial, jurors will be seated throughout the jury box and gallery to maintain social distancing. Let's take a look at Riverside County. Riverside County restarted limited in-person hearings. The court anticipates moving forward with trials sometime in the last quarter of 2020, but no specific date's been announced. Except for limited emergency matters, Riverside County continues to require filings to be submitted via its online filing system. On October 6th, Riverside announced that due to a $12 million COVID-related budget shortfall, it will close all courthouses the third Friday of every month. Certain courts will be open for emergency matters and statutorily required proceedings. San Bernardino County continues with its order. Most trials are continued until 2021. It has limited jury trials in the following cases: criminal, unlawful detainer, civil cases with preference, civil cases approaching the 5-year rule, and upon a showing of good cause. A civil trial can also be done through the use of remote technology. Let's take a look at San Diego County. San Diego County continues to move forward with its September 9, 2020 order regarding the restart of trials. Jurors were summoned, listen to this, in a criminal case which started on October 13, 2020, a week ago. And then a second criminal trial on October 19th. On October 26th, San Diego will ramp up to 2 criminal trials per week. Because of the backlog of criminal trials, all available courtrooms in San Diego will be dedicated to in-custody criminal trials only. An exception may be made where a judge finds good cause to commence a trial in a civil or criminal case. Now, here's our update on the California federal courts. The Central District of California continues to put on hold jury trials and most in-person civil hearings under its reopening plan adopted in August. In-person hearings regarding emergency civil matters in the Southern Division were recently restarted. Non-emergency hearings will continue to be held video conference or telephone. The Southern District of California announced on September 29th that due to the ongoing COVID crisis, it's extended its order of June 10th, implementing social distancing and safety guidelines on all the courthouses. The Southern District continues with its restart of criminal trials, with criminal trials moving out of custody defendants, with priority given to criminal cases. 1 jury selection per day may be scheduled Monday through Thursday of each week. To make sure there's social distancing, only 1 trial can be taking place a week on a single floor of the courthouse. The Southern District has also restarted in-person misdemeanor bench trials with the required COVID-19 health and safety protocols. The Northern District of California continues to move forward with its recent restart of civil trials. Jury trials and bench trials may proceed in accordance with the court's safety protocols, and each judge has discretion to have a case commence and go or not. Hearings are currently held via telephone or video conference. Criminal trials may proceed in accordance with the logistical considerations necessitated by the safety protocols. Let's talk about the Eastern District. Eastern District of California, the order of May 13, 2020 remains in effect. No civil or criminal trials will go forward. No jurors will be called for jury duty until further notice. All civil matters will continue to be decided on the papers, but if the judge really believes a hearing is necessary, it will be conducted by telephone or video conference. A note to everybody, carefully prepare your papers, because in many instances, that's the only consideration you're going to get. This applies to motion hearings, case management conferences, pretrial conferences, settlement conferences, and ADR proceedings. Up-to-date information on the status of Southern California Superior Courts and the Federal District Courts is available in the attachment which I've given you. As always, please feel free to contact me or my office about any questions you have about the status of any case anywhere. So, in conclusion, stay well, stay safe, And hopefully, in not too long, we'll be talking about actual trials in not the old reality, but the new reality we'll have to face going forward in the future.